After the House passed a deal to raise the debt ceiling last night, the measure now heads to the U.S. Senate, and the field of Republican presidential candidates continues to grow. Good morning, I'm Janine Herbst from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The House last night passed the debt ceiling bill on a bipartisan vote, and it now heads to the Senate. As NPR's Windsor Johnston reports, time is of the essence to quickly pass the bill before a critical deadline next week.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy reiterated that the bill represents a compromise and is a win for both sides of the aisle.
We're finally bending the curve on discretionary spending because of this bill. And we're doing it while at the same time raising our national defense and our veterans fully funded.
In debate leading up to the vote, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffrey said Democrats voted to put people over politics.
Under the leadership of President Joe Biden, Democrats kept our promise.
The bill next heads to the Democratic-controlled Senate, where Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has promised quick action. Windsor Johnston, NPR News, Washington.
More Republicans are jumping into the presidential campaign. NPR's Domenico Montanaro reports the field of candidates is starting to get crowded and could get even bigger.
Half a dozen major GOP candidates are already in and campaigning. 3 more are expected to announce their bids next week, including former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and former Vice President Mike Pence. Christie's expected to get in on Tuesday in New Hampshire. The next day, it'll be Pence in Iowa. Sources close to Christie acknowledge his odds are long, but they believe someone needs to more forcefully and directly make the case against former President Trump. So far, though, this race has been largely dominated by Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who've already spent tens of millions of dollars in TV ads against each other. Domenico Montanaro, NPR News, Washington.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy joined European leaders at a summit in Moldova today, making the case once again for his country to be a part of NATO, while reiterating calls for Western fighter jets. Speaking at the European Political Community Summit this morning, he talked about Russia's latest attack on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, that killed 3 people, including a child, and says his country needs more military aid to up its air defense.
A coalition of patriots that will put an end to Russian blackmail by ballistic missiles, and a coalition of modern fighter jets that will prove that terror against our cities has no chance.
Meanwhile, at another NATO meeting in Norway, Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg says members agree that Ukraine must be added to the alliance and that Russia can't veto that. President Biden is in Colorado to deliver the commencement address at the U.S. Air Force Academy today. More than 900 cadets will graduate. It's the 3rd time Biden's made the commencement address, but the first time as president. This is NPR News.